Good morning and welcome to our daily devotional from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn. Very glad to have you with us on this Friday morning, March the 3rd, 2023, as we continue our look at Romans chapter 4, verses 1 through 5 and 13 through 17. And this morning I'm going to read the last two verses of this passage, Romans 4:16 and 17. So let me pull that up, and then I'll offer a few reflections and then close us with prayer. So this is Romans chapter 4, verses 16 and 17, and this is Paul's summary of chapter 4 in Romans. For this reason, it depends on faith, in order that the promise may rest on grace and be guaranteed to all his descendants, not only to the adherents of the law, but also to those who share the faith of Abraham. For he is the father of all of us. As it is written, I have made you the father of many nations, in the presence of the God in whom he believed, who gives life to the dead and calls into existence the things that do not exist. So Paul is summarizing this whole section in which he wants to demonstrate that the Gentiles, the Gentile Christians, are a part of the family of God through Abraham. But they are a part of the family of God through Abraham, not by virtue of following the ritual observances of Judaism, but rather they are a part of the family of Abraham because they share with Abraham faith, that is, a life of faith. The phrase that's translated in my version says, the God in whom he believed, that is, in whom Abraham believed. And I think that's better translated as the God in whom he faithfully lived, not simply an intellectual act of believing or not believing, but actually living a life of faithfulness. So this chapter then is mostly about Abraham and about how Abraham is the father of all nations, and that it is through the faith of Abraham that we share within the family of Abraham, that when we participate in that faithful living ourselves, we, by God's grace through Christ, are able to participate in this family of faith. So Paul is addressing one of the early challenges of the early Christian church, which is how do the Gentile Christians relate to the Jewish Christians? What is the connection there? And Paul wants to say that Gentile Christians are very much completely and fully a part of the family of God by virtue of faith, and that is what we share with Abraham. That's what made Abraham blessed. The promise, says Paul, the promise to Abraham comes by virtue of faith, not by virtue of observing the law. And Paul makes the logical point that the law had not even been delivered yet. Abraham comes before Moses, before the Pentateuch, and that what counted as righteousness for Abraham was his living in faith in relationship to God. And so I think this is a tremendous reminder to us that all people all over the world are invited and are offered this grace to live in faith. It's not a matter of following certain particular rituals or saying the right words. It's a matter of living faithfully in relationship to God, and of course, meaning living each day righteously. Powerful message from Paul, powerful reminder as we live, as we walk today, that we remember that each person that we encounter has been offered this grace through Christ. Let's close with this prayer from W.E. Orchard. Oh God, there are many things in our life we cannot understand, but there are a few we can, and we thank Thee for these. We cannot understand why we should, like silly sheep, stray so often from the paths of peace, why the bent of our nature should be towards folly, why we should continuously incline towards evil. But we are grateful at least that we do know when our feet have missed the track. We never mistake the lonely night upon the mountains or the wandering in the wilderness for the shelter and plenty of the fold. We cannot understand why we can never learn from the experience of others when it witnesses consistently that the way of transgressors is hard, that the stolen fruit crumbles to ashes on the lips, that as we sow, we reap. But at least we are thankful that we are never satisfied with sin, that forbidden fruit never quenches thirst or satiates hunger, but only sets our teeth on edge, that no bread of life can be made from the wild oats we have sown. We are thankful that not all the glitter and tinsel of the world can finally deceive us. We cannot understand why we must try every physician before we try Him alone who can heal us. We are so pitifully taken in by any impostor, at whose door have we not waited. But we are thankful that we never think we have found heart's ease when we have not, that we do not imagine we are growing better when disease is still wasting our frames. We are glad we never rest until we come at last to the great physician. What we cannot understand is why He should receive us and take us in and spend Himself upon our healing, but that we do not ask to understand. It is the wondrous love to which we trust, the mercy in which is all our hope. Amen. Thank you for joining me this morning from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn, and I hope that you have a very good day. Goodbye.